I have stuttered for as long as I can remember. So the thing to keep in mind about stuttering is that the most consistent thing about it is that it's inconsistent. It's true that stuttering looks different from person to person, but stuttering looks different in a person as well. You wake up and you have no idea, like, am I going to be stuttering a lot? Am I going to be able to say my name without stuttering today? Or will I get stuck? Will people have reactions? The other problem is a lot of the time fluency is what they call when somebody doesn't stutter. You're considered fluent, which is probably not the best word for it, because when my friends think of fluency, they think of like language fluency and like, are you fluent in English and Spanish? And yet that's also what we call a non-stuttering voice. And if you are a stutterer, you know, a lot of times the goal or that people have for you is fluency. And that's I think that's pretty hateful, to be perfectly frank here, because fluency is not necessary for effective, good, comfortable, connecting communication. And yet it's deemed as this like golden standard to reach for. It sucks because it doesn't need to be that way. It just doesn't need to. We don't need to see stuttering like that. We don't need it to see something that's like we're so desperate not to do. Because when you ask people who stutter what the main issues of stuttering is, you know, you'll hear people say, like, I can't say my name, I can't say this, I can't say my address. And the reality is that they can say those things, they just say them with a stutter, which isn't the same thing as a can't. They can. The issues usually come down to other people. And someone will say, you know, I hate my stutter because when I do presentations in class, everybody laughs at me. And I'm like, your stutter isn't the bad guy in that story. Like, the teacher and the peers are for not doing something about that. Being bullied for having a stutter doesn't make the stutter what's bad. It makes the society that allows that. That's what's bad. So I personally don't see my stutter as an enemy anymore. I used to. And then I realized that it wasn't actually doing me any harm. It was just there. It was just part of my speech. And it took me a really long time to realize that. It took me and other people who stuttered. Took a lot of like mental health therapy, a lot of reading like Brene Brown. But sometimes people don't understand what's going through the brain of somebody who stutters in those moments, because we've been so trained to think that people only want to listen to us when we're fluent, to think that there's something wrong with our voice every time we stutter, to think that we're wasting people's time every time that we stutter. And none of that is true. We're not wasting anybody's time. To stutter is not a waste of time. And it really sucks that we live in a society that would teach that.